Hi, this is the voice of Heidie Calero with another economic capsule on the Puerto Rico economy. Today we are going to talk about a very interesting subject, one that with COVID-19 has been energizing a lot of debate on when schools, public schools should reopen, how safe are the children are going to be, and what are parents going to do if they have nobody to leave their children with so that they can go to work. Well, today we are going to talk about education, poverty, and connectivity. Let's look at this first graph that we are depicting here. There are 1,205,075 households in Puerto Rico as of 2018. So let's assume for analytical purposes that it is almost the same as it is right now in 2020, although I suspect that there may be more of underestimated poverty levels in Puerto Rico. And this first graph depicts that 41% or 493,000, almost 493,000 households are living below poverty level. And of that 41%, 53% have children with who are 18 years or less. So they are really in public schools. So what are they going to do if schools do not open? Or is there a plan to reopen the schools, to have a platform that they will be attending schools through, teachers who are knowing about their protocol in terms of the lessons in education? But more interestingly enough, how many of those households have a computer? Well, here, this is the totality of all the households, not just the households below poverty level. Out of that 1,205,000 households, 36% do not have a computer. Just as I said, 36% do not have a computer. And of those same households, that 1,000,002 that I mentioned before, 44%, 43% do not have access to internet, to broadband. How are schools, public schools, how are teachers going to provide education to these public school students? It's a big question. And the FCC provided Puerto Rico after Hurricane Maria, and it's just been recently disbursed $237 million to all these companies, Claro, T-Mobile, Liberty, AT&T, monies so that they can implement the infrastructure for 5G broadband. Well, that is not a one-year plan. It's a 6-year plan. Over the first 3 years, they're supposed to complete 40% of the projects that they've submitted to the FCC to qualify for those $238 million. On the fourth year, 60%. On the fifth year, it's 80%. And on the sixth year, they must have completed all these projects. Now, the epidemic of COVID does not know any metrics about time. The virus is here, the pandemic is here, and education is at a crucial borderline and crossroad right now. What is Puerto Rico going to do? We have not been executing anything about planning, about the contingency of having these computers, which the governor has indicated that she has purchased for the public schools, but they are not here, not all of them. And least of all, we noticed that almost 36% of these households do not have a computer, and 44% do not have access to broadband. What is the governor waiting for? She should have already been in conference with all these internet companies, Claro, T-Mobile, Internet, Liberty, all of them. How are they going to provide this service quickly so that these public school students can have access to education? And we do not have the inequity of having these generations that are going to have this disadvantage of not having a good education. And least of all, teachers who will be just killing themselves trying to teach these students without access to internet, without access to a computer. It's really a challenge, and Puerto Rico has not met many of these challenges. Don't forget to subscribe to La Voz de Heidie Calero, the voice of Heidie Calero in YouTube, so that you also receive notifications on new capsules on economic analysis. Until next week, stay safe.